Getting this out of the way at the top of the review, is Gladiator 2 as good as Gladiator 1? No. But is it entertaining? Yes.
Are you not entertained?
What's up, you guys? It's Jonathan Carter back with another J Carter movie review, and today we are going to be talking about Gladiator 2.
The odds are against you.
The odds are always against me.
The story of Gladiator 2 picks up 16 years after the original Gladiator and follows a new gladiator who is taken as a slave by the Roman Empire, becomes a gladiator, and then tries to change the Roman Empire for the better. So on a surface level, pretty close to the plot of the original Gladiator. Now, a little background on this one. I just saw the first Gladiator for the first time 2 days ago. I didn't know it was directed by Ridley Scott, and I also didn't know that it won Best Picture. So, Gladiator 2 is coming out 24 years after the original film. I think there were talks of making a sequel somewhere in like 2016 or 2019 throughout that time, maybe with Russell Crowe coming back, something like that. But now, 24 years later, with Ridley Scott being back and a fresh new cast, Gladiator 2 is here. Now, as we get into this review and I give you my thoughts on the film, I will say up front, I believe you do need to see the first Gladiator before seeing Gladiator 2. There are very small plot moments, little things here and there repeated from the first film or a character that returns in this film that you could understand completely what's going on, but it helps to have the world to know from the first movie and connect it with the second film. It creates a much more connected journey between the two movies. And before we fully get into this review, please be sure to like and subscribe. That would really help me out a lot. Check me out on Instagram and TikTok, or a version of this review over on Spotify in a podcast version if you're more into podcasts. All that being said, let's jump into this. So, like I said at the beginning of the video, Gladiator 2 picks up 16 years after the original Gladiator, and it follows a new gladiator as he is taken as a slave in the Roman Empire, turns into a gladiator, and then essentially wants to change the Roman Empire for the better, but there are smaller things in there as the plot goes on. Character reveals, you end up realizing that these aren't just strangers that you're seeing in this story. They have connections to the first film, and those connections are embedded very well throughout the film. I was a little hesitant knowing if these films would feel connected being 24 years later, and the first Gladiator doesn't really lend itself to a sequel, but there is very much a natural connection between these two movies, and the sequel more than justifies its need to exist. Now, we have, just like the first Gladiator, a pretty stacked cast in this movie. Pedro Pascal, Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things Season 4, Paul Mescal, and of course the amazing Denzel Washington, who pretty much steals a lot of scenes that he's in. But unfortunately, as far as the acting goes, there are no performances in this film, at least in my opinion, that rival that of Joaquin Phoenix and Russell Crowe in the first Gladiator film. So while it is a very stacked cast in Gladiator 2, it definitely feels weaker from a performance level. And unfortunately, that does include Paul Mescal, who is our main gladiator here. While he is doing a very good job, he does not reach the heights of Russell Crowe in the first Gladiator. He just doesn't have not only the character moments that Russell Crowe had in the first film in the writing, but he also just is not at the level of Russell Crowe, and it's kind of evident throughout the film. That being said, the strong points of Gladiator 2 compared to Gladiator, the action, the spectacle you are seeing on screen achieves a much higher success level than the first Gladiator. And the first Gladiator had a great level of that. It looked fantastic, but Gladiator 2 ups that on every single level. Gladiator fights are bigger, the action is more raw and violent. There are some pretty gross things in this film that are not in the first Gladiator. And everything, all of the fights, not only is the choreography fantastic, but the fights have a new layer to them. So in the first film, it was gladiators fighting in the Colosseum, and maybe there were some tigers chained up or something like that. This one of the first fights you see, there's immediately animals. And then in the next one, they're on ships and there's water and sharks. And then after that, they're fighting a rhino or something. Like, it's every fight upped itself to be inventive and to feel fresh and new. But talking about what ups a sequel, unfortunately, the action and the spectacle is the only thing that's above the first Gladiator film. So you get a lot of action, you get a lot of great fight moments, but you sacrifice storytelling and thoughtful, heartfelt, emotional moments. There's not nearly as many thought-provoking or very well-written dialogue between two characters as there is in every corner of Gladiator. So while Gladiator 2 has, 10 out of 10 spectacle and incredible action cinematography, it very much lacks in the story department that the first film so well succeeded in. So, like I said at the beginning of the review, Gladiator, the first one, was won Best Picture in either 2000 or 2001. And in comparison, I don't even know if Gladiator 2 would be in the conversation of Best Picture or Best Director this year. It might be for Best Stunt Work or Cinematography for sure, and it would definitely deserve that, but I don't know if there'd be a best actor. I don't think a best screenplay adaptation. Like, I don't think any of that will be in talks for Gladiator 2 because it, unfortunately, when it comes down to it, it's just not at the same level as the first Gladiator. It doesn't feel like this sprawling narrative that the first film does. So, all in all, it's pretty mixed. It is nowhere near a bad film, but is not nearly as fantastic as the first Gladiator. So, wrapping this review up, I'm going to give Gladiator 2 a 7.5 out of 10. If you've seen Gladiator 2, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments. How does it compare with the first Gladiator for you? Do you prefer the first one? Do you prefer the second one? What did you think of my review? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please put all of that down below in the comments. And like I said, please be sure to like and subscribe. That would really help me out a lot. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next one.